Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. And here we are now with part 12 of this Lancia Stratos build. Now, if you remember in part 11, I was doing lots of reshaping, and as you can see, I've been adding plastic, sprue goo and everything, and basically we've got pretty much a decent shape here now. Remember, I cut all this out and then moved it all back and made it a lot smaller. This part was way too big. I think I mentioned this before. I may have said it on one of the live streams on Moss's channel or something. I'm very suspicious looking at this when you look down on it. These arches look extremely fat. Now, there have been a lot of comments. This is only going to be a quick video because I want to get something out there for you, so you know I haven't left this behind. I honestly haven't. I've been working on it, but the trouble is with sprue goo, it shrinks back so much and you have to leave it so long to cure properly that you can't trust it. So I've been leaving it and leaving it and leaving it. Now, you can see here this arch is now wider at this point. You can see there's a step up, so that's going to have to be sanded back. But the one thing I wanted to do was actually mock up the rear suspension to see how the wheels are going to look in the arches. Now, what we need for that is a wheel. Obviously, we've got two halves of a wheel, a tyre. We need our rear suspension upright. We need a wishbone. We need an inner wishbone mount. We need the top of our upright, a spring and a disc brake. Okay, so luckily what I've done, Blue Peter style, here's one I prepared earlier. So this is a wheel glued together. We've got the wishbone on there, we've got the inner connector, and we've got the upright here with the shock absorber and everything on it. You can see I've got some easy line here just for now, just to stop it coming apart. I'll have to do something better than that finally. But with the standard kit parts, with the plastic bits that are all floppy, it actually pegs in, but I wanted to do it this way so that I could paint it and everything and deal with the seams. So I can see there that knot is starting to come loose. So what I'm going to do is just pull it nice and tight. Okay, and hopefully it'll just stay together for this video. In fact, no, what I'll do is I'm going to go away and actually loop this round and knot them up again. Hang on a second. Yeah, I've knotted that up again. We don't want it all coming apart, do we, while we're making the video? So basically, yeah, we've got the shock absorber there with the spring, the disc brake and everything all fitted up, and the wheel. And if you remember, I did that work to get the so it's not all floppy. This is one of the problems with these Italeri kits. You put the wheels on and everything's all just flopping about. You can see here, and with this wishbone, you can see it's just, you know, look at the play in there, and you've got these tiny little plastic pins that are just asking to break off. So I should probably replace them with some rod. You know, they're like a prick in the top out in those holes. Luckily, with the big wide wheels, it should sit down okay because there's enough there to put it in place. So basically, we'll turn this over. This anti-roll bar link needs to face forward. So I'm going to put the strut top into its mount. Okay, and then this inner, literally, luckily, holds in. So you can see now we've got the wheel there in position. And what it's doing, it just wants to come away from the top mount because there's nothing holding it in. So again, that will be glued on final assembly. But basically, we can see here that we have the wheel, and it is probably too far inside the arch. I would say that wheel arch is probably a good, where's a rule? Let me grab a rule. I would say that wheel arch is a good 2 millimeters too wide, which doesn't sound a lot, but when you actually look at the car from a certain angle, you can see that that wheel looks pretty lost in that wheel arch. When you actually look at the box, something else I wanted to talk about as well, because I'm getting a lot of comments, emails and stuff. This car on here, this is not the model, this is a real car. And this has the actual arches as they were fitted on the cars back in 77. So apparently Lancia never made this style of rear bodywork. This rear bodywork you bought as a standard car, and then you bought this kit and added it to it. So this is actually bonded on, which is what Italeri have given us, but it's completely wrong because they're the complete wrong shape. And you can see here, I mean, if I grab the box art, it's going to be easier because it's bigger. You can see here the way this arch is blending into the body, and that's what I'm trying to establish. You can also see here, when you look at it, the wheel, when you look at real ones, the actual wheel is very much sort of, you know, pretty much flush with the outer wheel arch, and as you can see there, it's not flush at all. Now we could look at the other side. Even though it's wrong, the actual wishbone is equilateral, so we can take that off of there, okay, and we can put this in this side. So we'll drop that top mount into there, okay, and just drop that down there. Now what I'm hoping is, I'm hoping that somebody will come along with a resin, either complete resin sides to bond on, or a complete resin clamshell with the correct form, because, you know, to expect anyone, any average modeler, to do this sort of work is just crazy. Now you can see on this side, just check that top mount is correctly located. There we go. You can see on this side it's probably even a bit worse. That wheel looks a little bit lost in that wheel arch. It should be, I'll try and get the angle for you. It does look quite lost in there, doesn't it? It should be, you know, the wheel needs to be further out. So yeah, I'm once again bloody disappointed. I've done all this work and it's going to look crap in the end. It's just going to look, it needs to, the wheel needs to be like sort of like this, not like way back in like it is. The wheel needs to be, you know, when you actually build the model, the wheel's back in like that. It needs to be a good couple of millimeters out. So I don't really know how on earth I'm going to achieve that without cutting these arches off and just starting again. But this is turning into an absolute, total and utter, complete, absolute bloody nightmare. I think probably the best way to do it is to cut it here and then just glue this back on inside the other one. But that means redoing all this again as well. It's just, oh, it's just a fucking nightmare, isn't it? But I don't want to put hours and hours of work into this as it is and have it looking, you know, just wrong, just looking bloody stupid, like a Carlos Fandango thing, you know, with dirty great big wheel arches sat over, you know, it's like years ago you see lads with Mark 1 Escorts and they put great big bubble arches on them, and then they would they put great big bubble arches and then and then they had standard wheels. It looks silly. So there you can see there, I mean, that wheel started to come loose, I think, because it started to wobble about. These horrible little bloody screws are disgusting. So there you can see it's just not right. It just doesn't look right. So what I'm going to do, I don't know, but I started saying this just now and I keep getting off track. I've had a few comments and a couple of emails as well. People are saying I've got this all wrong. I've explained it on countless occasions. I'm not going to put the photos up again. There are basically two types of group 4 rear arches. There are these, okay, which are smooth and blended in, all right, and then there's the other type, which is just like a 45-degree chamfer, okay, so like a 45-degree wheel arch, which is, I think, what they're trying to depict here, but they've gone for that big shape, and I don't know why they didn't just make another bloody clamshell. It's just ridiculous. I've said it on countless occasions, but this is going to be very, very difficult to do. I think what I really ought to do is cut it away from the body and start again, narrow it and push it in, because that would also bring everything down, which would be a good thing. So if I could actually get this to come away from the body, cut 2 millimeters off and move it in, that would be a great improvement. As I say, it's just, I'm just wondering actually, I'm trying to find an accurate way to do this. If I come from that point there on the chassis, no, there's no way of doing this. I was trying to see if they were equal about. That one looks wider, doesn't it? That arch looks wider than this one. I suppose the best way to do this is to get one of my steel blocks, put the steel block about there, and then measure over there. That's roughly 15 millimeters. Do the same on this side. Measure over to there. Okay, they are the same. It's obviously an optical illusion. I mean, these arches fit absolutely beautifully. It's just a shame they're such a stupid idea. But you can see, I mean, we've got here's the old rear body here. You can see the old rear body just has these standard wheel arches. And I'm tempted to stick that body on, get these off, and just put some narrow wheels on it, just because this is just a nightmare. So yeah, so we've got lots more work to do. And I don't quite know how I'm going to go about it. I think it might be easiest to mark this out, get some 2mm tape, mark it around, and then just cut it at the side of the tape, and then grind all that off, and then move that in. And down here, just make a line and move it in. It's I am so disappointed. But what can you do? What can you do? You can only deal with what they give you, and what they've given us is junk. Yeah, it just doesn't look right in any way, shape or form, does it? It doesn't even look right from the side. Kind of looks like the wheel arch is too low almost. That definitely doesn't look right to me. Of course, the easiest way to do this, if you want to, is put a spacer in there and get a longer screw. That would be the easiest way around it. But you know me, I don't take the easy option, do I? Alright, I'll see what I can come up with. Right, no turning back now. So there's the rear arch cut off. As you can see what I've done, I've gone round and marked it square 2mm. And the other thing, I've got a nice straight line going in here. So using this cutting disc on this tool, I'm able to just come in, as you can see, and just slice. Okay, I think the battery's starting to go, needs charging. But basically I can slice a nice straight line there, and then file that back 2mm, and then I know that when I butt it back up together here, then I know that I'm sort of I'll probably just put 1.5mm or something. So just make that 1.5mm narrower. So I can scribe a line on there with my calipers, I expect. So we'll go to like 1.7mm, hey? So just scribe a line in there, like that, and then cut back to that line. And then that will give me, if I put that on and butt that up again, that'll be my 2mm in, allowing for a bit of a width of that. So I just got to do the same on this side. With this here, I'm kind of wondering if I get some old Tamiya nippers, can I? As you can see, I've run around the inside with super glue, so actually just using extra thin to try and reinvigorate the joint won't do anything. Oh, that's breaking away nicely actually. And I say this is working to a benefit on 2 counts, in that basically as this goes in, the further it goes in, the further it's going to come down, which is one of the big problems. Remember I always said this arch is too high, it's going to bring it down quite an amount, because it's practically 45 degrees. We're going in 2mm, so we'll also come down 2mm. So if you've got one of these and you haven't done this wheel arch yet, I would seriously recommend taking 2mm off the arch so that it goes in. You can see here, there's the plastic card I added to make that wheel arch. after we cut away the original wheel arch. Now what I'm wondering here, can I get into here with a knife and break this super glue away? I know this is VMS, it's bloody good stuff, and it's also partially flexible. So maybe I can come in from the outside and peel away. I'm not really too worried about the finish, to be honest, because it's all going to get covered in filler and blended anyway. But you know, I was watching a video the other day. There's a guy modelling, and he was holding a part like this, and I think he was holding it like this, and he was trying to pair off, ready to put some photo etch or something. And I'm just looking and thinking, oh my god, if that blade slips, you are going to go so deep. He was like really working at it as well. I was sat there cringing my head off. So there we go. Here we are, so that's all ready to be sanded back. And then what we'll do is take 2mm off of there, as I said, and that will get the arch going in further. You can see if I line that inner arch up there, you can see how much further down it's come. You know, when it goes straight in, you can see how much further down it's going to be than that upper bit. And I know it's only a couple of mil, but it's a hell of a difference, guys. Right, I'm going to carry on with this, get this charged up, and I'll see you back. Okay, so who had no faith in me? Who sat there, sit there now, put your hand up. Who said there's no way this is going to work? Here we go. So we line up the inner arch because we know that was parallel. Get that to go in like that. We got a little bit more cleanup to do on there just to straighten it out. And there you go. We can see we have the arch in place, and we can see, I don't know if you can see, but there's a line there, a white line where it was, and you can see how much it's moved down. It's moved down a long way. So that is much better for making our arch. Now what I need to try and do now is somehow remove some dust, get this taped on here if I can, so that we can mock up and see how it's going to look against the tyre. So we'll get this onto here like this, get that into there in the right position, then push the tape down, and hopefully it'll stay in place, or at least stay there so I can just nudge it over to see how it's going to look. Right, so we'll get this onto here now. Okay, do that, strap the body down. So you're not going to have to do too much on the front section there. We are going to have to do some work. Actually, it's going to have to be cut off and refitted, isn't it? Oh god, that's no problem. That'll be alright. But what I want to do now is put this in place. Let's get that wishbone out of there. We'll drop that top mount into the hole. Put the wishbone inner joint on there like that. And now we can see, oops, it's always a problem with these Italeri kits. Mocking them up is an absolute nightmare because everything is just so bloody floppy. But now we can see with that arch in like that, it looks one hell of a lot better. It doesn't have that stupid great big overhang at the top. Okay, so when you look at the arch at an angle like that, or even from behind, without my finger in the way, you can see it's a lot better. just for a comparison. This is also bloody paletoy. You can see how much better it looks than that side with that great big overhang on the top. Oops, the struts come out. There we go. You see we've got that great big overhang, and on this side we don't. So if I get the other side done, and then we've got to look at trying to get it fitted. What I might actually do is fit one side and get it all done, rather than go ahead and do the both sides together, because then if we do make any mistakes or anything, you can see I've got to take a bit out of there. So I'm just going to grab a sander and just, as I say, I'm not too worried about this fit on here because it's all going to be filled and blended anyway. It's going to have a ton of filler in it. Oops. There we go, that's better. Get that inner arch lined up. That's our datum. And there we are. Much better, isn't it, guys? Much better. Right. Also, it's going to make this front piece a lot smaller as well. As you can see, we're going to be moving that forward. Yeah, it's going to improve things no end. I wish I hadn't bothered fitting these now, because they're going to have to come off and be done again. Oh, there's so much work going into this now, isn't there? Dear, 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 dear. And all that's going to be blended in there anyway. Right. Wish me luck. See you back in a minute. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this video up so that you can get something out for you guys. Otherwise, it's going to be another couple of weeks before I can get anything out, because all of this work needs lots and lots of patience and drying time and all that. Now, what I'm going to do now, this is going to enable me to actually build up the back of this wheel arch somewhat, because if you remember, we sanded them all flat because they were sort of convex, which is completely wrong. They should be flat, so we've sanded them flat. So what I'm going to do now is put some sprue glue in the back of here just to build this up, and I'm using the thicker sprue glue. I tend to have two consistencies on board. What I generally go for is so that it just doesn't string. But what I want to do is build this up here. But we've got to be careful that we don't put too much on, because what it'll do, it'll just melt and distort the plastic here. So there we go. It's only really over this top area here that we did the sanding that it needs building up. But I'm wondering if I can actually use this as kind of a bonding agent. Get lid back on that because it absolutely bloody stinks. And then we can offer this up to here. And when we push it together, you can see that the actual sprue glue is contacting certain areas. It's also oozing out the top, which is a good thing. So believe it or not, guys, that arch is technically fitted. That was easy, wasn't it? All in all, that's been about 3/4 of an hour's work, if that. Get off. Just put some of this thick stuff in here and let it go in. But the least amount of work I have to do in those wheel arches sanding, the better, because they are a nightmare. So we'll keep that flush there. I'm going to put a piece of tape, hold that in there. I think that's pretty much all it bloody needs. That's amazing. So there we go. Right. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking my kit doesn't look like that, what you really need to do, guys, is go back and watch, or even just flick through. I'm not trying to get my hits up, but rather than me try and explain all that, just go back and watch what I've been doing. I have done one hell of a lot of work on this rear end, so it probably looks nothing like your kit. If your kit has just come out the box, see, this is quite striggy because it's so thick. Just pushing it in. And that will bond that on. Yeah, that's gone up a little bit there. I'm just going to, where my tweezers go, I'm just going to grab this tape, pull that arch down a touch, and take it in. We can actually put some sprue glue in the back of there as well. Oh, look at it all stringing across it there, for God's sake. Ugh. There we are. Once that's gone off, I'll put some of the thinner stuff in that will capillary into that gap, and that will minimise the sanding. Right. In fact, I'll put the drop in now. I think this is the thinner stuff. Yeah, this is thinner, this one. Just brush that in there, let that go in, let it penetrate. Not only will it cure it, bond it, it will also fill it. Okay, I'll put some more back here. Look, you can see where it's all pulled in and practically disappeared. I think what I might do is put a piece of tape on there. No, it's not going to work, it's dead, that tape, it's been used too many times. I just need some tape to pull that together. This is the good old Mr. Hobby Orange tape, it's brilliant for things like this. So we'll go over the top there. Just come back. We don't need loads of force, we're not trying to raunch it, I'm just trying to stop it pulling apart. And there we go. I think I'll put another piece back there. What a waste of tape this is. A precious, precious tape. That'll keep that pulled in. There we are. There we go. So that's one side basically done. And now you can really see up here, I'll draw a pencil line, that is where the arch used to be. Up there. So you can see how much it's come down, which is what we want to do, and it looks a lot more sensible, it looks so much better. You can see the difference when you look down on the top. This one's obviously so much wider. But, yeah, I'm really glad I've taken the plunge and done this, because it's going to be worthwhile. What we also do, I think, I'm going to get some of this Tamiya white glue because it's thicker. I'm going to brush that into there. and that will go down in and do its thing. Should be able to put some up in there as well. There we go. That's the beauty of doing this. Nothing needs to be tidy, guys. It's quite enjoyable, really, in a way, because it's all going to get covered. And there we go. Right, I'm going to call that a day there for this one. I know you're disappointed. I know you want to see me do the other side. But as I say, I'm going to let this go off now for a couple of days. Because sprue goo can take a while to go off and shrink back and everything. What I want to do is get in there with a blade and remove most of this excess on here, because it's going to be so much easier to do it now than have to try and sand it when it's hard. It's not so bad back there. But what I'll try and do is put some kind of shape into it so it's roughly correct. And just roll away that excess. You can imagine how much easier that is now. Stuck to the back of my finger now. Imagine how much easier that is now than trying to sand it all down when it's all gone hard. Right, obviously you've got to fill that area in there as well. I've just touched where I glued on the top. That ain't going nowhere. Right, so that's that done. I will see you soon, hopefully sooner rather than later, and we will continue. But yeah, I'm dead chuffed. Right, see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.